First, we want to open up the Registax 6 stacking software program. Open up the image that you created with your telescope and smartphone. The software has the capability of stacking lots of images taken so that it improves resolution and detail. We're only going to be using one part of this program. It's the wavelet filter module. Once your image comes up, it'll take you to the wavelet, and you have a line stack and then the wavelet tablet that we're in right now. I like to see the entire image so I know kind of what I'm working with. You can see here the details are a little bit blurry, the contrast is kind of off, and so we want to improve those. Basically take the individual filters and start moving the sliders, and as you increase the sliders it'll increase the sharpness and bring out some of the detail. Just play around with them. There's a whole science behind these wavelet filters which I won't get into here, but just adjust them to what seems like an improvement to you. And typically I stagger the filters. You don't need to use all 6 of them. You can just use 1 or 2 and just uncheck the box to the left of each one if you don't want to have an additional one. I left the setting as default for the Gaussian filter setup. Once you get your filter set up and you're satisfied with the look of the image, and you can see there was some improvement along the edge, then hit the Do All button. That'll start processing. This takes a while. I've sped this part of the video up to save time. Once it's 100% complete, then you can go up and save your image. I'm going to give my file name a descriptor so I know what I'm working with. And then usually I put edit on the end so I know it's an edited image. I'm saving it as a JPEG. Next, we can close this program out. We're going to be going into EasyHDR Basic. HDR for high dynamic range. This program allows you to take multiple images taken at different settings and combine them into a high dynamic range image. So we want to open up our image that we just created within the program Registax 6. And this is a limited version, so when you first click on it, it'll tell you what
limitations the program has. Depending on the size and the resolution of your image, it may take a little while to load. Once it loads, you'll see we've got some parameters over to the right here that we can make adjustments on. I'm primarily going to work with 2, but you can see that when we've processed it in here, it's created and emphasized the halo effect that happens when you photograph the moon on a day or a night that has high thin clouds. So first we're going to adjust the saturation and then the compression. If we lower the compression, we'll get a much better contrast, and some of the highlights tend to come out a little bit better. Once we're done, we can hit save, and when we do that, we're given the option of processing it, or you can use the process all button up in the upper right hand side of the left right menu. This takes a little while. I've sped this up to save time. And you want to save your file. And then leave it at 100% quality for your image. And then we get out of this program, and next we're going to go into the graphics image editor paint.net, and we're going to do a couple of little fixes in that to fix some of the over processing and the halo effect that we've generated. So open up your image. This is the one that we just created in EasyHDR Basic. You'll see the halo effect is very bothersome. So we're going to fix that in this program. And we're going to do that by selecting the shapes over in the menu, and up in the other menu select circle, and we're going to increase the brush size significantly. And then basically we're going to try to put a ring around the edge of the actual point of interest, the moon in this case. This will give us a good clean line to work with. So it takes a little while to manipulate it so you're not obscuring any actual image that you want and features. But it gives us a smooth line to start with, because basically we're going to take and brush out all of the halo effect that occurred from our processing. You can grab the edges and move it out, and the corners. It takes a little patience and time to do this. This is the final version. Next, we're going to take the eyedropper and click on the dark background to select the color so that we have the correct color to brush out the halo effect. We select a brush with a good size width, and then we just start painting over using the circle we put around the moon as a guide. Sped up the video here a little bit just to save time, but you basically get the idea. This helps bring out detail and get rid of the distracting halo effect and over processing that we did to try to bring out detail. And there's the final image. We can do some cropping if we want to enhance the image a little bit more, or just to save the dark background. And there's other filters and techniques we could apply here, but this is basically all we're going to do in this program, and this is going to be our final image. Go to image and then crop to selection, and then the area that you've selected will be what is saved. And you can see here pretty good improvement in the contrast, the detail, shadows. Some of the features have come out a little bit better in our process than we've done with these 3 programs. And then finally save your image. You can save it whatever format you want. Now we're done. Made improvement in post-processing.